Welcome to our second session of our retreat on the yoga of the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, self-generation, sadhana. In this session, in addition to the practice, we will also engage in the long life prayer, making requests that our precious lineage holder, Venerable Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, remain with us for a very long time. And we'll also finish with the 9-line Mixena prayer. So if you don't have copies of these, just focus in contemplation on the meaning of the words. The same way with this practice, if you don't happen to have a copy of it. So it is in the New Heart of Wisdom, as well as in the prayer booklet that I'm showing you. Okay. So I want to elaborate a little bit in this session in the teaching on Guru Yoga. So we remember that Guru Yoga practice is visualizing our qualified spiritual guide in the aspect of a fully enlightened Buddha, in this case as Guru Buddha Shakyamuni, with the Great Mother Prajnaparamita at his heart, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas like the full moon, surrounded by stars. Venerable Geshe Kelsang says in the commentary to the Yoga of Prajnaparamita in the New Heart of Wisdom, he says, while holding this visualization, we should emphasize 3 things. First is remembering the meaning of Buddha's words when he said, quote, "In future degenerate times, I will appear as ordinary spiritual teachers. You should know that I am these teachers," unquote. We should strongly believe that our spiritual guide, who sincerely leads us to correct spiritual path, is an emanation of Buddha Shakyamuni, and continually meditate on this belief single-pointedly until we hold it spontaneously. This belief is the root of Dharma realizations, the actual spiritual path to liberation and enlightenment. And so that's the first aspect of the practice of Guru Yoga, is developing our faith. Second, while believing that our spiritual guide is an emanation of Buddha Shakyamuni, we emphasize engaging sincerely in the practices of the 7 limbs. The practice of prostration, offering, confession or purification, rejoicing, beseeching, requesting, and dedication, and offering the mandala every day with strong faith in Guru Buddha Shakyamuni, together with reciting the verses of the sadhana. So we can do this sadhana if we don't have highest yoga tantra empowerments. We can make this our main tantric practice until we attain highest yoga tantra empowerments. As I pointed out in the empowerment, the Great Mother Prajnaparamita and Tara, Buddha Tara, and Vajrayogini, who is the highest yoga tantra Buddha, are the same person. They're just different aspects. So this practice, the Great Mother, prepares us perfectly to receive highest yoga tantra empowerments and to smoothly move from our practice of action tantra, which this is, to the practice of highest yoga tantra, say the practice of Vajrayogini, the quick path. So that's incredibly helpful. One of the reasons, and Venerable Geshe Kelsang has said this himself when asked by Genla Dekyan how it is that his teachings are so clear he replied by saying, it's because I always teach from the point of highest yoga tantra. So we're so fortunate that even these presentations of action tantra practices are fully preparing us to smoothly advance to generation and completion stage practices in highest yoga tantra, which contain the actual practices of attaining permanent liberation from suffering and the state of full enlightenment. How wonderful. So we can have this practice as our daily practice. We can have Heart Jewel, the Guru Yoga Uche Sankapa, and prayers to our Dharma protector, Dorje Shukden, as our daily practice. There are many different tantric practices that we can engage in, even prayers for meditation with Buddha Shakyamuni, Guru Shakyamuni, yes, the Buddha of that practice, or essence of good fortune. All of these practices, including all the highest yoga tantra practices, have embodied in them Guru Yoga, and include the practice of the 7 limbs and offering the mandala. And the reason is that these are our powerful methods for accumulating virtue, merit, and purifying our negativities, and also receiving powerful blessings. So that's the third point, is receiving powerful blessings. Venerable Geshe Kelsang says, third, we emphasize shining the sun of our faith continually on the snow mountain of our spiritual guide, Guru Buddha Shakyamuni, and making strong requests for him to bestow upon us blessings to attain realizations of common and uncommon spiritual paths. So the common path, which were teachings Buddha gave to everyone, are his sutra teachings that teach us basically how to develop universal love, universal compassion, and bodhicitta, the strong wish to become an enlightened being. And then his tantric practices, his tantric teachings, actually give us the actual method how to accomplish that. Okay. So we make strong requests for Buddha Shakyamuni to bestow upon us blessings to attain realizations of the common and uncommon spiritual paths, while reciting 3 times the request prayer from the sadhana. Okay. So the request prayer in the sadhana is the prayer, O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, Great Mother Prajnaparamita, and all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. To you I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Please bless my mental continuum. So we want to make these requests in a very sincere and pure way. Okay. In response to our requests, the blessing waters of all the Buddhas of the 10 directions will flow into our mind. How amazing. We imagine infinite rays of blue, yellow, white, red, and green wisdom light radiate from Guru Buddha Shakyamuni's body and fill our entire body from the crown of our head to the soles of our feet. All our outer and inner obstacles, especially our ordinary appearance of body, speech, and mind, in other words, the appearance of everything in our daily life that seems external to our mind, are purified, and that our very subtle body receives a special power to transform into the divine illusory body, which is the deathless body of a Buddha, it's called the enjoyment body when it's actually the body of a Buddha, and our very subtle mind, which is our mental continuum that goes from life to life, which is always conjoined with our very subtle body. Our very subtle mind receives a special power to transform into the higher perfection of wisdom, the union of great bliss and emptiness. So these receiving blessings have great meaning for us. If we emphasize these three things, we can attain full enlightenment very quickly. However, this point's very, very relevant. The effectiveness of our Guru Yoga practice depends on the strength of our belief in karma. If our belief is weak, we will neglect to engage in the practices for accumulating good fortune, merit, and purifying our negativities or our non-virtues and receiving Buddha's blessings. Then our Guru Yoga practice will be just empty words. So we have choice. No? Everything begins in imagination. So if we practice these very sincerely, really concentrating on the meaning of the words in the sadhana, we are protecting ourselves, not just in this life, but in our future lives, by purifying our negativity, increasing our good fortune, which then fulfills our wishes, and receiving the blessings that allow us to gain higher and higher realizations. And eventually, we will attain permanent liberation from suffering, and then the state of full enlightenment where we can bring everybody else to permanent liberation from suffering. So the point I want to make in training in the actual practice of self-generation is, again, that we should know very clearly that the self that we normally see does not exist at all. And we're going to be meditating on this in our retreat on the Great Mother, which will happen next Saturday. We have 4 sessions, and I will be guiding meditations on the emptiness of our body, the emptiness of ourself, and the emptiness of all phenomena. So we have to familiarize ourselves with these meditations, particularly familiarizing ourselves with identifying the self that we normally see. That's the tricky part, because it's so automatic for us. We just simply take it for granted. It's functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and as many years as we live. So we have to constantly work at identifying the self that we normally see, because it's a figment of our imagination. We have created it. We've created it life after life after life. So we have imprints every time we're born to create another self that we normally see, which appears as an inherently existent self that somehow is the owner of our body and the owner of our mind. It's like there's some third entity there. And of course, once we search for wisdom for the self that we normally see, we can't find anything that is the owner of our body and the owner of our mind. It simply doesn't exist. It's simply a construct in our mind. It's a bunch of thoughts that coalesce into this idea of the self that we normally see. But like many things that we imagine or that we create, it's non-existent. If I tell you to imagine, one of the ships in the movie series Star Wars, you can probably bring one to your mind. But it's strictly imaginary. It's been created in a movie studio for our entertainment. But we can have imaginary things in our mind. The classic one, of course, is thinking of a unicorn. Nobody's ever seen a unicorn, but all of us know what a unicorn looks like because we have so much literature where there's imaginary unicorns. You know? So we have this imaginary idea of the self that we normally see that we have to constantly challenge and try to identify in these meditations, to make these meditations heartfelt, so that we really gain an understanding. That is not the way myself appears. Myself appears as mere name. It's just a name I call myself. It's a mere appearance to my mind. It is not the self that I normally see. And because of that, wonderful, because of that, we can disappear that self from our mind. Instead of having that operating in our mind, we can simply remind ourselves, wait, that's imaginary. I'm just going to dissolve it into emptiness. It appeared from emptiness. I can dissolve it back to emptiness. And then I have this opportunity to appear myself as the fully enlightened being, the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, using my imagination. Venerable Geshe Kelsang says, at first, we generate ourselves as the enlightened Buddha, Great Mother Prajnaparamita, mainly through the power of our concentration and correct belief, which is the nature of wisdom. When we begin the practice of self-generation, we do not need to think in detail about our color, shape, and so forth. Okay, so some people have the ability to visualize themselves as the Great Mother following the instructions, and other people don't have that ability. That's fine. Gradually, you will gain that ability if you keep looking at pictures of the Great Mother for long enough, just like you can look at a picture for long enough and then visualize it in your mind. Or you can look at the face of a friend for long enough and then you can visualize that face in your mind. And if you don't have that capacity, that's okay. The important thing is to believe. As he says here, we should simply believe that in the vast space of emptiness, the cessation of our grasping at things we normally see, in other words, we've disappeared our ordinary appearance, appears Akanishta Pure Land, in which we appear as Prajnaparamita. As I say, if you'd like to visualize, you can visualize beautiful Pure Land. If not, you just believe that you're in a Pure Land, and you just believe you're the Great Mother, Prajnaparamita. You can even just visualize yourself as a blob of beautiful wisdom, golden wisdom light, yellow wisdom light. He continues, we need to contemplate and meditate on this self-generation again and again until we spontaneously believe that we are Prajnaparamita in our Pure Land. Eventually, when we develop deep familiarity with this, the ordinary appearance of our body and all other things will naturally cease completely. And the appearance of ourself as the Great Mother Prajnaparamita and Akanishta will spontaneously arise. He says, when this happens, we will experience the supreme happiness of enlightenment. So he's not teaching completion stage in this action tantra practice, but we do have to do a little bit more work to become an enlightened being through engaging in highest yoga tantra. Okay. He says, it is important to meditate on the appearance of this self-generation while realizing that it is not other than the emptiness of all phenomena. In other words, even though we're appearing ourselves as the Great Mother in Akanishta Pure Land, using our imagination, it's simply still a mere appearance to our mind. It's just a pure appearance to our mind. rather than an impure appearance to our mind, which our ordinary appearance is. Our mind of concentration simultaneously meditates on two things: the self-generated appearance of ourself as Prajnaparamita, and the realization of this appearance is not other than the emptiness of all phenomena. This meditation is called the yoga of non-dual profundity and clarity, the non-dual union of appearance and emptiness. It is very subtle, profound, and the real quick path to enlightenment. So how fortunate we are to have teachings from the Ganden oral lineage, because this is one of the main teachings that actually take us swiftly to enlightenment. Okay. So we're again going to begin with a meditation, developing our mind of refuge, our mind of renunciation, that strong wish to attain permanent liberation from suffering, and our compassion for living beings, wanting to release them from their suffering, and our wish to become an enlightened being in order to accomplish that. So find a comfortable meditation posture with your back straight, your hands comfortably in your lap, ideally in the mudra of meditative equipoise, with your right hand on left and thumbs touching. For a few moments, focus on your breath, keeping your breathing natural and normal, and allow everything in your busy mind to reduce as you focus on the feeling of your breath as you breathe in and out. Try to focus on a heartfelt way in the following contemplation. I can permanently protect and liberate myself and others from suffering only by putting Dharma into practice, receiving Buddha's blessings, and receiving help and support from Sangha, the supreme spiritual friends. Therefore, I will make the promise to rely sincerely upon the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, throughout my life, and to accomplish a Buddha's enlightenment. Thinking in this way, we take refuge vows and bodhisattva vows by reciting the following ritual prayer 3 times.
I go for refuge to the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and confess individually all negative actions. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings, and promise to accomplish a Buddha's enlightenment. I go for refuge to the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and confess individually all negative actions. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings, and promise to accomplish a Buddha's enlightenment. I go for refuge to the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and confess individually all negative actions. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings, and promise to accomplish a Buddha's enlightenment. In the space before me is Guru Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like the full moon surrounded by stars. At his heart is the Great Mother, Prajnaparamita, the manifestation of Buddha's perfection of wisdom.
Remembering what Buddha says in both the sutras and tantra. In spiritually degenerate times, I shall appear in ordinary forms as teachers. You should know these teachers are me. Try to increase your faith or correct belief in Buddha Shakyamuni being the same nature as your spiritual teacher. In this way, with this mind of faith, you can admire the good qualities of Buddha Shakyamuni and wish to be just like him, and increase your wishing faith. Try to develop heartfelt faith in Guru Buddha Shakyamuni.
of the 10 directions and 3 times. To all of them without exception, I prostrate with body, speech, and mind. By the power of my excellent pure view, all conquerors appear clearly to my mind. Bowing with bodies numerous as atoms of the world, I prostrate to all these conqueror Buddhas. Upon each atom are Buddhas numerous as atoms, surrounded by all bodhisattvas. In this way I visualize the conqueror Buddhas, filling the ground and all of space, with an inexhaustible chorus of praise, and the sound of infinite prayer. I proclaim the good qualities of all the Buddhas, and praise all those gone to bliss. For all the Buddhas I visualize a vast array of unsurpassed offerings. By the power of my faith in their excellent deeds, I prostrate and make offerings to them all. Whatever negative actions I have done with my body, speech, and mind, whether out of attachment, hatred, or confusion, I confess every single one. I rejoice in all the merits of the Buddhas of the 10 directions, Bodhisattvas, solitary conquerors, hero learners, hero no more learners, and all living beings. You who are lamps for the worlds of the 10 directions, protectors of all living beings, who have attained the ultimate state of Buddhahood, I beseech you to turn the unsurpassed wheel of Dharma. With my palms pressed together, I make this request to all those who wish to display passing away. Please remain for as many eons as there are atoms in the world, to bring benefit and happiness to all living beings. For the merit I have accumulated by prostrating, offering, making confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and requesting, I dedicate to great enlightenment. The ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain, fallen sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land and offered thus, may all beings enjoy such pure lands. I offer without any sense of loss the objects that give rise to my attachment, hatred, and confusion. My friends, enemies, and strangers, our bodies and enjoyments. Please accept these and bless me to be released directly from the 3 poisons. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, Great Mother Prajnaparamita, and all Buddhas of the 10 directions, to you I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Please bless my mental continuum. O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, Great Mother Prajnaparamita, and all Buddhas of the 10 directions, to you I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Please bless my mental continuum. O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, Great Mother Prajnaparamita, and all Buddhas of the 10 directions, to you I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Please bless my mental continuum. Through my making sincere requests in this way, infinite rays of blue, yellow, white, red, and green wisdom light radiate from Buddha Shakyamuni's body, filling my entire body from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. All my outer and inner obstacles, especially my ordinary appearance of body, speech, and mind, are purified.
Open your heart to receiving these powerful blessings in the form of blue, yellow, white, red, and green lights, filling your entire body, transforming it into a mass of rainbow light, purifying your ordinary appearance, all your negativity, increasing your realization. Rejoice in this purification accomplished with your mind.
With delight all the holy beings dissolve into Buddha Shakyamuni. He dissolves into Great Mother Prajnaparamita at his heart, and she in turn dissolves into me. My body transforms into yellow light, becoming smaller and smaller from above and below, until finally it dissolves into the emptiness of all phenomena, the mere absence of all the things that I normally see.
We imagine that all the holy beings dissolved into Guru Buddha Shakyamuni, and he dissolved into the Great Mother Prajnaparamita at his heart. She comes to the crown of our head, our body now being completely pure. Rainbow lights. She dissolves through our central channel into our mind and radiates powerful blessings that transform our body into yellow light, blissful wisdom light. This gradually becomes smaller and smaller from above and below. And all of our ordinary appearance and conception disappear from our mind. And we meditate on space-like emptiness, understanding that we've just disappeared, the mere appearance of our ordinary self, our ordinary environment, and so forth. Using this special tantric technology. Nothing appears to our mind, but the space-like emptiness of all phenomena. If thoughts appear to our mind, we remember their memories and allow them to dissolve back into the emptiness of all phenomena. Appearance and emptiness are the same. Appearance comes from emptiness and dissolves back into emptiness.
In the vast space of emptiness of all phenomena appears Akanishta Pure Land, where I appear as Great Mother Prajnaparamita. I have a golden-colored body of wisdom light with one face and 4 arms. My first right hand holds a golden vajra, and my first left hand holds a scripture of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. My remaining 2 hands rest in my lap in the mudra of meditative equipoise. I sit in the vajra posture adorned with precious jeweled ornaments and wear beautiful garments of heavenly silk. Although I have this appearance, it is not other than the emptiness of all phenomena.
Having disappeared, our ordinary appearance, all the thoughts we perceive in our mind of our daily experience, all the thoughts we perceive in our mind of our ordinary self, our ordinary body, and so forth. Having disappeared that into emptiness, understanding it's a mere appearance to our mind. So we don't have to appear it, we can disappear it. We can now appear Akanishta Pure Land, a pure environment. And we can appear ourself as the Great Mother Prajnaparamita. It doesn't matter whether we can visualize this clearly or not. The important point is to believe that we are the Great Mother Prajnaparamita in the Pure Land of Akanishta. Gradually, with this belief and repetitive meditation, we can appear more and more clearly the details of ourself as the Great Mother Prajnaparamita in the Pure Land of Akanishta. We have a golden colored body of wisdom light with one face and 4 arms. The 4 arms represent that we're the synthesis of the Buddhas of the 4 directions. Our first right hand holds a golden vajra with 9 prongs, indicating that we have purified our 5 aggregates of form, which is our body, of feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness, which is our mind. And we've purified our 4 elements of earth, water, fire, and wind. And we have the capacity to help others to purify their 5 aggregates and 4 elements by leading them to the state of permanent liberation from suffering and full enlightenment. Our first left hand holds a scripture of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. This represents that by understanding the teachings, contemplating the teachings that we have heard, and meditating on these teachings, we have gradually attained a direct realization of the emptiness of all phenomena. At that point, we stopped suffering, and we were easily able, through continual meditation on emptiness, to attain the state of the enlightened Great Mother, Prajnaparamita. This is the way that all Buddhas have attained enlightenment. All Buddhas of the past, present, and all Buddhas of the future will practice in this way. Our remaining two hands rest in our lap in the mudra of meditative equipoise, demonstrating that we attained our spiritual realizations through meditation, the power of meditation to transform our mind from ordinary appearances to pure appearances. We sit in the Vajra posture, adorned with precious jeweled ornaments, and wear beautiful garments of heavenly silk. And like all Buddhas, we are sitting on a lotus and on a moon and sunseat, demonstrating our complete purity of body, speech, and mind, and our perfect attainment of conventional and ultimate bodhicitta. We think while we're meditating in this way, although I have this appearance, it is not other than the emptiness of all phenomena. Appearance and emptiness are one entity, just two different aspects.
Oma Prajnaparamita Hum Hum Pe. Oma Prajnaparamita Hum Hum Pe. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Soha. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Soha. Through my virtues from engaging in the profound practice of Prajnaparamita, may I accomplish a Buddha's enlightenment to liberate all mother living beings. May the Maras, the outer and inner obstructing demons, be quickly and completely pacified, and may all living beings swiftly become conqueror Buddhas like Shakyamuni Buddha. May Buddha Dharma, the sole medicine for all suffering and the source of all happiness, be materially supported and honored, and remain for a very long time. O protector of the land of bliss, who bestow without effort the immeasurable joy of immortality, the moment we think of your breathtaking body, beautified by the measure peace and honor, reign of attainment of long life and exalting wisdom. You are sealed in the wisdom that unties the seal
Our retreat is now ended, but this is the beginning, I hope, of a sustained practice that you can develop at home. One of the advantages of the coronavirus is that we have more time at home because we can't be out and about, and it gives us time to establish a daily meditation practice. And in that way, we can increase our faith in Guru Buddha Shakyamuni and the Great Mother Prajnaparamita. And we can train ourselves to listen to or read correct teachings, contemplate them, and then put them into practice in our meditations and in our daily life. And in this way, we can gradually decrease our ordinary appearance and increase our pure appearance, which will lead us to the state of permanent liberation from suffering and the state of full enlightenment. So there are wonderful teachings on both Sutra and Tantra in modern Buddhism, which we should study carefully and put into practice. And of course, there are wonderful teachings in all of Venerable Geshe Kelsang's books, including The New Heart of Wisdom, which has an extensive explanation on emptiness. But to begin with, read the chapter on emptiness in modern Buddhism or in How to Transform Your Life, or 8 Steps to Happiness. That gives you so much to learn, to contemplate, and to meditate on. And really use this time to establish a daily meditation practice and to train yourself to transform all your daily appearance into the spiritual path, applying Dharma, receiving a teaching, and applying a practice for everything that appears in your daily life. And remembering throughout your day, although things appear, they do not exist in the way that they appear. They do not exist external to your mind, fixed and independent of each other. So although they appear, they do not exist like an illusion. Or although they do not exist, they appear like an illusion. In this way, we will make great progress in our understanding and meditations on emptiness, leading us to the state of a direct realization of emptiness. And at that point, we stop suffering. Oh, wonderful. I would like to thank everyone who helped prepare this empowerment and these recordings. So our residential community are social isolating together, and they helped in preparing our beautiful shrine, which you saw during the empowerment yesterday, and also are completely supporting our efforts to record teachings and bring them to you. So I deeply appreciate all of their help. So thank you very much for attending, and I hope you will also attend next week's retreat on the Great Mother, where, as I've said before, we will meditate more on emptiness and learn the practice to remove obstacles from our daily life. Thank you.